Well, hello. How are both of you doing? It was so good to talk to you on the phone last month. I was going to write you an email, but see that? I had a mishap with the can opener a couple hours ago, and this is my typing hand, so it's going to be out of commission for a few days. I thought I was going to have to go to the emergency room, which is fine. I know the people there. I know the cops who drink coffee there at night. You know, they're good to chit-chat with. Doesn't bother me at all. I like Norwegian American. Um, that's where my doctor is. But I wasn't so sure I wanted to do that. So I called a buddy of mine who's a former army medic. And he said, nah, just get some crazy glue or some super glue or gorilla glue and that'll take care of it. So that's what I did, and I don't have any other gauze, so I had to use these big old bandages left over from that time I poured all those oven cleaning chemicals at work on my foot and, had to go to the wound clinic and get debrided twice a week for a month. that refreshing tingling feeling apparently left some pretty deep second degree, pushing third degree burns on my entire right foot. Oh well, we always knew cooking was not my strong point. Other good things going on. Things are going so well, I've started wearing my bass weeges again, my bass weegens. So I started wearing bass weegens because Ken, my boss, mentor, friend, chancellor, et cetera, wore bass weegens. So let's see if I can, see the shine? See the shine? Yeah. You know how I did that? Let me tell you how I did that. All right. Good housekeeping right here. You mix shoe polish with extra virgin olive oil. Oh yeah. Conditions the leather and provides a nice sheen. Uh-huh. So let me explain this to you. I wanted to start sending out some video postcards and just letting people know how I was doing. They could watch it at their leisure. I could do what I needed to do during the day and have a little more convenience at night and record these. Well, I tried to start sending some of them out tonight to you and some other people. And I was worried about file size, and not everybody uses Facebook, and the files were too large for Gmail and Facebook. Well, it dawned on me, I could just upload them to YouTube and send people a link. Well, I've got videos up now to my friend John down at the CVS and to my friend Rusty, the retired police chief. Okay, well, I've apparently already got a following on YouTube and people writing me wanting to collaborate with me because they like my material. And it's like, okay, well, go figure. I have good things to tell you. I got a job. I picked up this guy. Well, not the way that sounds. When I was still driving for Lyft, okay, I'm down at some swanky building on Jefferson, and the app goes off, and I'm a block away. I pull up, I pick him up and his son up. They got to go to the airport. One thing leads to another. 2 months later, not only is he helping me build my educational consulting business, I am his henchman now. Okay, he pays me very generously. He's very good to me. He's very open and accepting. Like, I'll say something funny, and then he'll be like, friends of Dorothy say ahs, and he'll send me a Facebook meme of a unicorn with rainbows coming out of it, which I think is very cool. So I'm in like my third week of that. And the best part is I get to work from home. I've got time to write, time to build my own business. He's very agreeable. I mean, it's like I just wake up in the morning and I'm up at the same time he is. And he's like, awesome! And it's like, it doesn't get any better than that. So life is going well. Interesting things to tell you. So I don't know if I've ever told you this. Well, okay, remember that part about the hooker who followed me home with her hand on my cock and balls for like 2 blocks, and I had to fight her off of me when I tried to close the metal gate to the front door so she couldn't get at me anymore? Right, okay. Well, so that's why I started carrying the pepper spray. Okay. So I live in Garfield Park in what I found out was one of the most dangerous police districts in the country. More officers are hurt in this district than anywhere else in the United States per capita. There are more shootings and more homicides per capita in this district. Um, since I've lived here, I've started to be able to tell the difference between a 9mm gunshot and a 45 caliber gunshot. Okay? And the difference is pretty simple. A 9mm just goes bang. Okay? A 45 has a slight sonic boom, an echo between each shot, so you'll hear the initial discharge, then you'll hear an echo right before you hear the next bang, which is the next shot. Because there's no such thing as fire discipline in these situations. Once they start shooting, they just empty the mag. Okay, the only saving grace with a 45 is the rounds are so big, they usually only got 6 or 7 in the mag by the time, so less chances to get hit. I will tell you that when I sit out on back on the metal fire escape, on my stoop, I never turn the porch light on because I don't want to be illuminated. Okay, so that's why I can sit out in the dark and see what's going on. So last night, this guy pulls up. Heavyset Hispanic guy in an SUV. He gets out, he walks behind a bush. Okay, I don't think anything of it. All right, well, 10 minutes later, he comes out from behind the bush with a woman following him that I didn't see go behind the bush to meet him. Okay, and the discussion went like this. Well, you're taking too long. No, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You're the one who's having a problem. No, I can't spend any more time on this. I'm not giving a refund. No, no. I have to go. I have to go. I can't keep coming back and forth here just because you're having a hard time. Okay? I got my boyfriend. Well, then she walked away and he walked away. Apparently, according to my neighbor John, the only other white guy in the neighborhood, well, okay, let's be honest, zip code. Boyfriend is code for pimp. And that house where they have all the parties, one lot south of me, is actually a cat house. I did not know this. I knew about drug houses. I didn't think cat houses still existed. So that's a new one for me. Um, what I should tell you is something I have not already told you. Okay, in Chicago, because of taxes, cigarettes are very expensive. They're $14 a pack here. Okay, but there is a black market trade in cigarettes. Okay, you can go up to my street corner and you can buy a cigarette loose for 50 cents. Okay, now tonight I didn't have any change because I don't get paid until tomorrow. Well, I took up a couple of these, traded them in for half a pack. So, that's the marketplace going on there. Somebody wanted the cigarettes more than or somebody wanted the beer more than I wanted the cigarettes. So, that'll get me through until tomorrow. Well, the convenience store I used to go to where you could buy cigarettes for $7.50 a pack, hauled in from Indiana or Missouri, all right, where they're only like $3. There was a quadruple shooting. Initially, I was told it was a triple homicide. Turns out it was a quadruple. Okay, I actually heard the gunshots going off. It was a 9mm. I was right about that. Well, I was kind of curious about what was going on, okay, and what happened. So I checked with my neighbor. He's a police psychologist, so he's in the know. He wouldn't tell me. Well, then I went up and checked with my friend Bear, the cigarette seller, the cigarette vendor, okay? And he tried to pass it off as, well, somebody saw somebody that they thought was someone else, and it's a long, complicated story, and then the shooting started. Yeah, so I was a little skeptical of that. So my neighbor John, okay, the only other white guy in the neighborhood, and I were talking, because he'll go around and walk his dog, and then he'll usually stop by my stoop at about 11 o'clock, and we'll smoke a cigarette together. And I found out that the situation really was about drugs. Well, I forgot. Okay, here's something else I should tell you. A few days after the incident with the hooker, All right, I was coming home from work. I was still at the grocery store at that point. And I go up to a guy and I give him a couple of bucks. And he takes the money, but he doesn't give me the cigarettes. Well, I went and told my friend Bear, who was up at the bus stop. And I said to him, Bear, and I told him what happened. Well, he was a little upset, so he turned around and looked at the guy sitting on the bench. The guy sitting on the bench told Bear to take care of it. Bear gave me a whole pack of cigarettes, okay? Then the guy sitting on the bench does this to another guy. The other guy from across the street, a closed-up restaurant, comes over, all right? And I point the guy out. They walk up to the guy. And I haven't seen him back on this block. And then the guy on the bench says, hey, I've heard about you. I appreciate that when you bum a cigarette off somebody, you always come back later and pay them. So you're good here. If you have any problems, you come to me or Bear first, and we will take care of it for you. And then he said, now don't worry about walking home. You're going to be safe, but we'll watch you. All right. So they watched me the 2 blocks it took to get back to my boarding house. Okay. And I've had no problems. Well, that guy was apparently a block captain for the Vice Lords. Okay. So that explains, I remember now, why at 1 o'clock in the morning, when I'm out of cigarettes, I'm writing, I don't have money to hop a lift and go to the gas station, why I can walk up to the street corner and trade beer for cigarettes and not have any problems. Okay? It's why people will sell me loose cigarettes on credit. It's why I don't have any problems. Now, I will tell you this. I've always known not to leave my block. I don't go 1 block over to that liquor store. I'll buy my beer down at Pete's. Whole Foods? Okay? Because that liquor store is sketchy. Well, okay. Here's what I found out from John, the neighbor. Okay? The Vice Lords control my block. The liquor store 1 block over is somebody else's. And they're fighting right now. And that shooting at the convenience store I used to go to was apparently the guys at the liquor store wanting to kill the business for the Vice Lords, so all the people who bought from the Vice Lords would zip down to the liquor store. Okay, so that's brought a lot of attention to this neighborhood. I haven't had any problems, but I'm staying away from that liquor store. Okay. Plus, I went down there once and I wanted to buy a 2-liter of RC Cola. I didn't have any cash. Well, they wouldn't take my card. Okay? And as I walked out the door, I was like, well, I can tell why you do a lot of business. So I haven't been back. And that's fine, because it's not my block. Okay? But my friend John, who is, well, the pharmacist, he's the one I'd always visit when I'd sneak out of the house while Don was asleep. Okay, so he's been talking to me about writing a short story or a series of articles about what it's like to live in urban poverty. Okay. And he says the stuff I'm telling him is just stuff that people would love to read because upper middle class white people like he would just have no idea that any of this goes on. Like, for instance, okay, I've spent some time looking into side hustles. And I've asked people what their side hustles are. And I've managed to piece together the supply chain on stolen cars. Like, I could borrow a screwdriver from my landlord right now, all right, and start taking plates off the back of other people's cars that aren't stolen, okay, and take those to people, and I'd make $100 on a license plate. Now, yes, eventually someone would report that license plate was stolen, but that takes a little time, and they usually only need enough time to get a car out of Chicago to Detroit or to Louisville, where they get it on some kind of a container and get it to the West Coast so they can ship it out. So that's how that works. Another side hustle. Bob, you'd like this. You're an electrician. You know the box on the houses? You know that little wire tab? Okay. So one of the kids at the grocery store had an uncle, and his side hustle was when people got their power shut off, he'd go to their houses and clip the tab, open the box, flip the power back on, but he had a stash of the tabs. Okay? Now, when they didn't have a box, that guy also knew how to just move the wires from one person's house to their house, which apparently he didn't like to do because that could get a little exciting, a little quick. So it's stuff like that. And the convenience store. There's a bus stop across the street, okay? Any time of day, doesn't matter when. You can go up there with your food stamps. You can go up there with an iPhone. You can go up there with alcohol. You can go up there with cigarettes. You can trade all that stuff. All right? Every time I need something, I go up to that. I bus passes. I didn't know there was a way you could sell bus passes to people, but they'll give you cash on the dollar, usually 50% for those bus passes. So it's really interesting how people who have lived in poverty their whole life, and don't know any other way to live, are struggling to get by, will figure out how to run a black market. It's fascinating. So I'm excited. I'm going to start actually writing tomorrow on that. Now, did I tell you about my new job? Working for the consulting firm. Yes, I did. I remember now. I've recorded like 3 of these videos tonight, and I'm running into problems trying to remember who I'm telling what. The long and the short of it is, I'm doing really well, and I will try to give you guys a call later this weekend. All right? Talk to you later. Bye.